Hello, this is John Rigler, and I'm a blockchain um, distributed ledger Web 3.0 uh, kind of developer, hacker, theorist. And so, what I want to show you today is something which I believe is um, an element of the metaverse. Rather than the metaverse being something created by Google or Facebook or Google and Facebook in a committee together or anything like that, I believe that Web 3.0, the Internet of Value, the metaverse, can actually be created by individuals. And in fact, it must be created by individuals who have a self sovereign identity and can operate in a way where they can't be restricted. So, and that's what we see here, because if you'll notice, this website that I'm showing you is actually hosted in IPFS. And this is, to me, the simplest version of a um, distributed web solution. All this is a list of URLs that you see, but you also see the verified um, owner of the URL. Now, this is based on a pull that I do from Etherscan, and anybody else could do the same pull from Etherscan. So this actually, there's one piece of this that points to my website to pull the data. So in theory, I could look at my weblogs and see your IP address to see that you visited this, but I would have no context other than that. Like I wouldn't know what you looked at, what link you went to from here. And there's ways for this to be even more distributed where I wouldn't even be able to see that. Like I had versions of this where the data was all stored in IPFS. That works fine except for the URL changes every time the data changes, which can be troublesome because it's possible to verify this URL, right? For example, a blockchain expert such as Keir Finlow Bates could look at this, could dig down and see if there is any backdoors here, right? Any holes, any anything, right? You can simply inspect, like I just pushed the inspect button, right? You can inspect it right here, live in, um, you know, you can see the whole thing, right? So I'm going to close that out. So what I've done, and I'm going to demonstrate adding something to this. It's this song, right? Leonard Cohen. And I have it all ready to go. I've put it into here. Now this is simply going to use the web3.js module that is actually also hosted on this site. You almost don't even need that, but because you could host it remotely. But again, we're trying to reduce the things and the people who can see evidence of what you're doing, right? So by putting that Web3 JavaScript somewhere else, in theory, they would at least see that you've accessed IPFS. I'm not sure how useful that would be, and there's no there's no kind of way to stop you from doing this, right? Anybody with MetaMask, well, anybody can see this by simply going to this URL. Anybody with MetaMask can add something, and it will show up here in a second. I don't have something that tells us that the thing is done. However, like I say, because this is Web 3.0, if you just click refresh, it will eventually pop up. See, there it is. It's done. So, and this is the user that added it, right? And that's it. So to me, and I know that this looks very simple, and there's, somewhat buggy, right? But that's not the point. The point is that this is a minimally viable product that shows um, how the web, the new distributed web can happen. And again, it's not dependent on Facebook. So don't look to Facebook for answers. It's not dependent on any of those things. It's dependent on you taking control of your own identity, which you can do with MetaMask. And this is the Internet of Value because people can understand who posted that. So if there's other Leonard Cohen fans, you could devise ways to communicate with each other and talk about Leonard Cohen or whatever thing you want to talk about. And this is just the most basic example of this. So thank you.